Good morning. How are you? My name is Cassandra Williams of Cassandra Williams Enterprise, and I am your victory coach and the founder of Wise Wives Build, where I help married ladies and those in waiting develop the skills that they need, garner the tools that they're needing to build the house of their dreams and live in that place. And we are here this morning for the morning tea. After this teaching, I hope that you feel equipped. I hope that you feel empowered. I hope that you feel encouraged to act. I want you to be moved to action. I don't want you to just hold on to this and not share it. Not tag another lady that needs to hear it, just, kind of hoarding it and not putting it, not exercising your faith on today. And so we are talking about bad girls of the Bible. And today we are going to be dealing with, this morning, we are dealing with Tamar, a woman scorned. Um, And what do you mean a woman scorned? This is a woman that was that had promises being made to her and they were not kept. She was put in a holding pattern and they did not keep up their end of the bargain. And so, guess what she did? She did like many women have done in the past and will probably do in the future. They decided, you know what? I'm going to take matters into my own hands, right? So here's Tamar's story. And Tamar's story comes from Genesis chapter 38. The whole chapter 38 is about Tamar. And so Tamar was a woman. Judah was her father-in-law. And, back then they, had the arranged marriages. So he went out and he found, his son a wife. His son Er. It's spelled Er. And so when he found him a wife, and it was Tamar, and he was not pleasing to God. So God killed him, right? So when God killed him, of course, Levitical law, the brother had to take her into his house, right? So Onan took her into his house. And he was like, nah, but he would not give her, good morning, Jeanette. He would not give her children. So in him not giving her children, God wasn't pleased with that. So not only was she a widow once, she was a widow twice. And so the father-in-law was like, I don't have a son of, marrying age. So what I will do is, this is what I'm going to do. You go home to your dad. And he put her in this holding pattern. And he said, you go home, put on your widow clothes, because everybody knows now, she's walking around in her black or whatever. And it signifies that she is a widow. She's off limits. She can't be touched, right? So he put her in this holding pattern and he said, look, I want you to wait for my younger son. Once he's of age, then he will marry you. And so she did as she was told, and she went back home to her dad's house and she waited. And then as time went on and she waited and she waited and she waited. And then she heard that her father-in-law was coming into town. His wife had died. He was coming to do some work, but he had not kept his vow to her. He didn't do what he said he was going to do. When his son became of age, he did not give her to him. And since she would have been the older woman, give him to her, however you want to look at it, right? And so he did not keep up his end of the bargain. And so she didn't get mad. She wasn't, in today's time, she wasn't slashing tires. She wasn't screaming. She wasn't yelling. We don't see any of that. We see her being very methodical, though. We see her being very intentional in her actions. And so she was like, oh, okay. So she got up, she cleaned herself up, she took off her widow's clothes, she veiled her face, covered her face so he would not know who she was. Good morning, Glenna. Thanks for coming in, Auntie. Covered her face so he wouldn't know who she was. And she sat down by the city gate, the entrance to Enam, which was on the road to Timnab. So that's Timnah. That's where he was going. Good morning to Keisha. And so So she has positioned herself. She didn't proposition him. She positioned herself. But she knew her father-in-law, right? His wife was dead. She knew her father-in-law. She knew the day, she knew the time. And so she positioned herself to and Judah took the bait. He saw her, good morning, Anita. He saw her sitting by this gate and he was like, I want to sleep with you. And she was like, okay. She said, but what you gonna give me? What are you going to give me as a token? Because he said, he said, well, I'm going to give you this goat. And she was like, oh, okay. She said, well, until that comes, what are you going to give me so that I know that you are a man of your word? Because remember, this is her father-in-law. You were supposed to I was supposed to marry your baby boy, but guess what? He never came for me. You never sent for me when he became of age. So now she is a woman scorned. She's like, look, I don't trust you. I can't trust the words that are coming out of your mouth. I don't do it. So she asked for a pledge, and he gave her his seal, the cord, and his staff. Right. So she gave him all of these. He gave her all of these things, and she kept them. Well, she got pregnant. Now that's a scandal. How is the widow pregnant, right? Because she went back to her home, and when she found out, when Judah found out that she was 3 months pregnant, he was like, burn her at the stake, put her to death, burn her to death. He wanted to kill her for what she had done. But remember, she had asked for a token. She was very methodical, y'all. This woman knew what she was doing, knew why she was doing everything, because she was living in a place of shame. He had put her in this holding pattern. He hadn't released her to even marry someone else. He just put her in this perpetual pattern of her getting up every day, putting on these widow's clothes every single day, waiting for something to happen. Have you ever been in a place where you were waiting for something to happen, that someone had made a promise to you and they didn't keep it? And so Tamar was a woman scorned. And so when they came to pass judgment on her, she said, oh, okay, well, wait, before y'all, before y'all burn me to death, before y'all kill me, here, I want you to take this to the king and tell the king that the father of the owner of these items are the father of my baby. Because she didn't have any kids, she didn't have any husband. So she was living in this place of shame, this place, and it was not of her own doing, right? And so when he saw the items, he said this right here. He says, she is more honorable than I. Because then he remembered the vow. He remembered what he had said to Tamar. He remembered that he did not send for her. He remembered that he did not give her over to his younger son. He remembered that he did not release her from her widowhood. He kept her locked. He kept her bound in this perpetual state every day of getting up, putting on these widow clothes. And as long as she had on her widow's garment, no man could approach her. So she was just there every single day, day in, day out. What do you think would happen if you were in that place? Don't you think you would have been a little upset? Don't you think you would have got a little mad? Don't you think you have? And here's the thing, y'all, we've been there. Have you ever been a woman scorned? Have you ever been that woman that was made promises and they weren't kept? And you were like, oh, okay. Sometimes that's how you get on, Snap. That's how you get, they be slashing tires, they be breaking windows. I'm not encouraging nobody to do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. But I get it. These are normally women scorned. But this woman was very methodical and she had a plan of attack and she went for it, right? And so she had twins. So they let her live. She had twins, and she had Perez and Zerah. Now, So she was a woman scorned. She did some things that we would look at and we'd be like, that's not good, right? But can I tell you, even if you've been a woman scorned, even if you've been in that bitter place, even if you've been that woman that did some things that were not the best, that was not pleasing to God, can I tell you that can I tell you that redemption is available to you? Good morning, Sylvia. Right. Good morning, Toya and Deidre. Right, Sylvia, you begin to, you start to feel, listen, some kind of way. Like, listen, you're not gonna listen, I'm not gonna keep staying in this place right here. Cause sometimes you get to be like, look, enough is enough. I've sat here and I've waited for you to keep your vow, for you to do what you were supposed to do long enough. And so she was like, oh, okay. So she took matters into her own hands. Can I remind you of Romans 8:28 this morning? Can I remind you that even if you did some things that was not the best, even if you made some decisions in another lifetime, right? Even if you were that woman scorned and you felt vindicated and you felt validated to do whatever it is that you did. Can I give you Romans 8:28 that all things work together for those that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose? Can I tell you that redemption is still available for you, even when you've been that woman scorned? Because here's the thing, guys, when you really look at that story, and I had to go back and I went into the genealogy, here you have Tamar, who was discarded, who did something that we would look at and be like, oh my gosh, she slept with her father in law, but he didn't keep his vow to her either, right? She ended up being, when you start to look down the genealogy, you see Rahab, who we know is the mother of Boaz, who is in the genealogy of Jesus Christ. So you have this act. You have Tamar tricking Judah and all of this stuff. And y'all, the genealogy of Jesus looked like some of our lives, right? Had you ever looked at that? Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen something? I'm looking like, wait, this is the bloodline of Jesus Christ. I knew about Rahab, but I had forgot about Tamar. So when I went to start to looking at Tamar, I said, wait, Tamar is in the bloodline of Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world. So now we have the daughter-in-law tricking the father-in-law. Now we have Rahab, the prostitute, all in the bloodline of Jesus. Y'all, when he said he came to bear all of our afflictions, when he came to understand what we would go through, do you not understand? He understands that there are things running through your bloodline. And he came and he bled and he died for all of them. All of them. And so when you start to really look at that, how did this, how I want you to look at today, how has disappointment, anger, rage, frustration made you act in the past? And you like, oh my God, if anybody ever know, and you find yourself in a place of guilt, you found yourself in a place of shame, you found yourself in a place of, I can't ever tell anybody that. Can I tell you that God was yet in your story? And you want me to tell you how I know God was in your story? Because I see God in Tamar's story. But can I tell you how I know he's in your story? Because you're on this broadcast right now looking at me. The simple fact that you have breath in your body, God is in your story. You may have been you may have been like Tamar. You may have been that woman scorned. You may have had to go through some things. Some people may have lied to you. Some people may have lied on you. Some people may have put you in a holding pattern. He promised you that you were going to, you were the one. He was going to marry you. You were going to live a life together. And then guess what? He decided, I don't want to get married. He just kept you in a holding pattern year after year after year after year. He cheated, but he said, you're the one, after year after year. He left, but then he came back after year after year. And you have been like, at some point you were like, look, enough is enough. And you became a woman scorned. And so Tamar did what she felt like she had to do. Because here's the thing, he was not going to release her from her widowhood. When he told her, go to your father's house and wait, she was stuck right there. By Levitical law, she was waiting for something that never came. And she got up and she did what she had to do. I want to talk to some single mamas that had got up and did what they had to do. I want to talk to some married ladies that you got up and you did what you had to do. Can I tell you that God is able to redeem? God is able to restore. I don't want you to stay in that place of bitterness. I don't want you to remain a woman scorned today. I want you to know that God has come to release you from that place of bondage, that place of perpetual circle, that place of reliving that thing that happened to you. God is saying you don't have to stay in that place. He wants to take your bitterness and turn it into something beautiful if you'll let him. You don't have to remain a woman scorned. You don't have to become a trickster. You don't have to become like the boys. You don't have to turn and become that woman that doesn't have feelings. You don't have to become her. Release it to God and allow him to heal that place. Release yourself and then release them and keep it moving. Don't allow yourself to stay in a place of anger. Don't allow yourself to stay in that space of disappointment. Don't allow yourself to stay in that place of rage and frustration. But establish that today is the day that you get free. Today is the day that you decide, I'm going to live. Today is the day that you're not going to be anxious for anything. But through prayer and supplication, you're going to make your request known unto God. And then you're going to wait on him and you're going to get the instructions and you're going to get the strategies and you're going to allow him to give you the life that you've always dreamed of. But you're going to have to let go of what was. You're going to have to let go of that season. See, she wasn't bitter anymore. She could take off the widow's garments because now she had a seed. Now she had a seed and she wasn't without, she wasn't a woman living in shame anymore. She wasn't in that perpetual holding pattern. She had purpose. So today I want you to go out and live your purpose. Don't negate your story. Because most of us have a but God in our story. We can have all these things like Tamar, but God. Only God would put Tamar, widowed twice, tricked her father-in-law into sleeping with her. And she is in the genealogy of the Savior of the world. Only God can do a story like that. Only God can turn a story, a mess into a message. Only God can do that. And so, ladies, I thank you this morning for those that have come into the broadcast that have heard this. Like I said, I want you to really look at your life. Are there some places where you're still bitter? I want you to be better. I don't want you to stay a woman scorned. I don't want, whenever you tell your story, I don't want you to have mixed emotions, and I don't want you to be bleeding all over people, and I don't want them to feel your pain and your rage and your anger. I want you to say, you know what? I went through this. He left me. He put me in this place. He put me in this state, but God came and got me. And now I'm living for him. Now I am going forth. No, I don't have a husband yet, but I still believe God is faithful and he is able to bring the set man into my life. No, I don't have children yet, but I believe God to open my womb, and I believe God to perfect those things concerning me. I believe God. You don't have to stay a woman scorned. And we've been talking from Genesis chapter 38. If you would like to connect with me, you can connect with me at www.thecassandrawilliams.com. Please feel free to go to ladies that are married, married ladies or Esther's in waiting. Please feel free to go to www.wisewivesbuild.com. Click check in, because that will get you on the mailing list. Our next challenge will begin on April the 5th, and it's a spring cleaning challenge. And I'll send you emails. I'm going to send you emails for that week of one thing. We're going to do spring cleaning, and we're going to tackle one thing every single day for that week from April 5th through the 12th. So you'll get an email, and it will tell you what you're supposed to work on that day, because we're going to spring clean. It's time to get rid of some things that we don't need. Sometimes you stay in that place of perpetual repeat because you won't get rid of the things that link you to certain things. So we're going to deal with spring cleaning in our mind. We're going to deal with cleaning out your emails, different things. I'm not going to give you all of them, but that's just two of them. And it's going to be like, it's going to bless you. You may think, oh my God, that's a simple thing to do. It really is, but many of us haven't done it yet. So it's going to be spring cleaning. We're going to start clearing out some things, because guess what? First quarter is over. It's about to be over, y'all. The first quarter of the year is about to be over. But listen, we got 3 more quarters to go, and we are going to play our game, right? We're going to shoot our shot. We're going to position ourselves to be the best versions of ourselves, so that God can work in us and through us, and that we can build the life of our dreams. You can build it, but you got to put the work in. So we're going to do the spring cleaning together on April 5th. So everyone have an amazing day. Go out and be great. Even on your best day, somebody wants to be just like you. Somebody, on your day where you feel like, man, I'm just like a 3 or 4 to a 0 or 1, someone that hasn't got started, honey, you look like a 10. So go out there and show them how to be a wise wife, a wise man that knows how to build. Have an amazing day, everyone. Be blessed. If you are on Clubhouse, follow me over to Clubhouse. I will be there in about an hour, and we're going to have some good conversation over there too. So for those of you that are over there, meet me over there at 9:30 a.m. and we're going to be talking about when he calls for me. He called for me. I didn't chase him. I wasn't after him. He called for me, dealing with men in power that are calling for shining a light and helping women know that you can say no even when he's in power. So I love you guys to life. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.